Hey gang, happy Tuesday. It's Jim Cundiff sending out video 2 per the request of many of you. Today I'm going to talk about how I work towards ending up on the throne and doing quota sharing and triple star, and hopefully some of that knowledge will help you get towards your goal. But first and foremost, there is no secret. A lot of people think that, okay, there's got to be some type of magic or luck, and I will be the first to tell you there's no such thing as luck. It's called work, W-O-R-K. It's called consistency, it's called tenacity, and it's called being very determined on it, focusing on whatever the goal is, being laser focused. One of the things I will tell you that happened this year and the last 2 years is I was laser focused, and if it did not get me to where I was wanting to go, I delegated it or I dumped it. I kind of felt like a snowplow. Everything in my way just kind of got pushed aside. So, but at the same time, when you are a triple star director or a double star consultant director, you have to have balance, and that is a very, very fine line. So, hear my heart and understand that when you do make the commitment to take the throne or to be a double or triple star director, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of dedication, but it also takes balance, because you have to have the balance in your life, and you still have to find time for your family and have fun at the same time, because if those things are not happening, you're not going to enjoy the journey. So basically what had happened excuse me, was about 3 years ago I had was at a point where I was at a decision in my life to where I had finished my graduate degree and I had retired from United Airlines to pursue Mary Kay on a full-time basis. Had a 5-year hiatus, as I had mentioned earlier, and I just was at that point where something had to change or I was going to move on. And I had tried everything. I had listened to everybody. If there was a new idea, I tried it. If there was a new placemat, I used it. If there was a new theme, I tried it. And, so what I've come to find is that I was going to give this one last shot. But for that to happen, I had to do a couple things. First of all, I had to seek a mentor, as well as a personal coach that could help me fix the areas in my life that I was having difficulty with, and that is always the 7 inches between our ears. Second, I would have to say, was the fact that I was doing and running in so many directions, trying to try and do all the different things, all the different ideas, that I was driving myself crazy. And so, that was really making me insane and frustrated and disappointed, because everybody was getting different results and I seemed to be doing the same thing, but I was getting completely different results than they were. So there was a disconnect, and I didn't quite know where that disconnect was. Well, anyway, I was done. I was going to cash in my chips, and I said I was going to give it one more shot, give it another 12 months, and if something didn't change, then I would make my decision at that point. So I went to seminar that year with the intention that that was going to be my last seminar. And I can't say that anything magical happened. I know that something spoke to me, and what it was or who it was, I really can't pinpoint it. But I just know that it gave me enough hope to come home and reevaluate things. But one of the things I know I needed to do was clean house. And what I mean by that is I had to go through my office and I had to get rid of everything that was not helping me get towards my goal. I had a filing cabinet that was loaded with tons of stuff that I had printed off, ideas that were shared with me that I knew I was probably never going to use. So the circular file came out, disposed of it all, sat down and made the commitment that if I was going to do this business, it was going to have to be done the way Mary Kay Ash did it. And if Mary Kay Ash can build an organization as big as she had built, based on her skills, techniques, and knowledge, there was no reason that I could not do the same thing. So, with that being said, I picked up her book again, and I read it, and reread it, and reread it, at least 3 or 4 times. And I realized that every time I would reread the book, I would find out and see something different that I didn't see the first and second time. And I made notes, and I highlighted, and basically just became a really good student of that paperback. And then on top of that, I went and I purchased, or I shouldn't say I purchased, I had already had it. It was the Mary Kay's book on people management. And that book, I believe, is out of print, but you can probably find it on Amazon. 2 books I highly recommend. Before anybody will come to me for advice on being successful in Mary Kay, that is a prerequisite in my eyes that both of those books be read and understood before I will even spend time working with them, because that is the foundation that I work from. So, came back from seminar, read the book, got rid of all the junk, and decided that I was going to do it the Mary Kay way. Now, Mary Kay was known for holding 5 classes a week, you know, week in and week out. That's how she built the company, and for some reason through the years, we find a 5-class week or a 10-class week for some. We can't even comprehend it. And I realized that that was society training us, because, you know, if you go back in time and you look back into the 1800s, a normal work week was an 80-hour work week. And now I think a normal work week is considered like 39 hours or 35 and some change. It just blows my mind, because there's no work ethic and no, there's this whole mentality. You know, I know Linda Tupin talks about the entrepreneurial mentality, and then there's the, I think she calls it the traditional mentality, and growing up on a farm, and then growing up and working for the man and punching a clock. Well, you know, with our business, it is definitely an entrepreneurial business, and so we work until the job is done. Or we work smart, and we work 40 hours. Or we don't work smart, and we work 80 hours. I choose to work smart, okay? Now, when I made the decision to make these changes in my business, I had gone back to corporate America after retiring from United Airlines, and I spent a year doing Mary Kay full-time. And when I was in that of a position, I decided to go back to work. And I worked for, I want to say, 5 years, again in education, doing, you know, something that I enjoyed, but it wasn't giving me what I needed, because I was working for somebody else's dream and somebody else's goal, and it wasn't mine. So, with that being said, I had complained habitually about how miserable I was, and I remember my partner telling me, this was 3 years ago, he said, if you're so miserable, why don't you quit? And I said, well, you know, that's a great idea, but one of the things I had promised myself is that we would never get used to the money that I was making in corporate America. That would just kind of be above and beyond, and so that we could continue to live off of Mary Kay, so that if I did decide to, you know, leave, then I could do so. Well, guess what? That didn't work. We got used to that money, and our lifestyle changed, and now I'm in a position to where I have to do what? Really go back and build my organization and my personal business. So, with that being said, I had decided to go and be very consistent on doing a power start month in and month out, month in and month out. And then I did that for about 6 months, I think 2 years ago. And then towards the latter part, like from January to June, I decided to up the ante and do a double power start. And so that work that I had done over that 12-month period, along with working a corporate job, had landed me 2 consecutive years in the number 4 position for the National Court of Sales for Directors. And last year, seminar 2011, I ranked number 13 in the Court of Sharing. So I have historically been a double star, I think every year pretty much as a director, and 3 years in a row, or 4 years in a row, triple star, because I believe that they run hand in hand. So anyway, this last year, I was number 4 again, and I thought, you know what, I need to get on that throne. for me, and this was something I just realized all not too long ago, is that I personally, in the subconscious mind, did not feel that I had what it took to be a national sales director if I could not achieve the throne. And that is not thinking abundantly, and I understand that, but I did not even realize that that was what was going on in my head until literally probably 2 months before the end of the seminar year. But at least I realized it. But now, knowing that I have achieved that, I feel that I have the ability now to go on and conquer the world in my eyes, in the way I feel conquering the world is important to me. So we go back last July, and I get home, and I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm talking with my partner, and he said, well, what did you do the years past? And I explained it to him, and he says, well, get on the phone, got to start someplace. He goes, go book that, that power start. So got on the phone, just a few hours, booked the power start. Come out, have dinner, we're chatting. He says, that didn't take you long. Why don't you go do it again? And I'm looking at him like he's nuts. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I can do that. So went back into my office and worked a few more hours, and then the next morning worked a few hours and booked that second power start. And then that night I remember him coming home from work vividly as I was dragging my tail in the door. And I think it was like on a Friday night. And he asked me, what the status was on the double power start. And I said, oh yeah, I got that done. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. He said, well, obviously, if you can do it twice, he goes, why don't you do it a third time? And I'm like, what do you mean a third time? He goes, go book another 30 faces. And what you just saw is exactly what he saw. I was like deer in a headlight. And I said, okay, understand I'm working Monday through Friday. At the time I was building a school from the ground up, not having a lick of knowledge of what I was doing. I got thrown into this position. And then trying to institute a new program that had never been done before. Again, with not a lick of knowledge outside of my education. And now you're asking me to do a triple power start on top of all of this. Okay, well, we'll see what I can do. So anyway, I am not the type of person that wants to be proved wrong by any means. So it took some more work, and I want to say to book that additional power start, it was probably about a week's time, because I would do it on my lunch break and so on and so forth. And I ended up booking a total of 18 classes in the month of September. So, 18 classes and 18 guest lists totally blew me out of the water, because one of the things that I had decided and committed myself to is that if I was going to do this, and I was going to put in the time, I was going to follow through, and I was going to coach the hostesses. These appointments were going to hold, because I had no more time available. And these appointments needed to hold. There's just no other way. So, rule number 1 was I get the guest list within 48 hours. Got the guest list within 48 hours. If it didn't happen, I did a follow-up call saying, hey, by the way, you may have forgotten, but, I did offer an incentive. If you gave me your guest list within 48 hours, you probably got busy or sidetracked, but, if you could get it to me within the next 24, I'll still honor the special gift. And 9 times out of 10, I got it. Now, there were those percentages, that it didn't happen, and the next message was, what, Sarah, I had you booked for the 21st of September, and, per our agreement, you were going to get me your guest list within 48 hours. Haven't received it. Left you a message the other day, offered to extend that. So I'm just going to assume at this time that the appointment's not going to hold. And I've got 3 other women that would like that time, so I'm just going to go ahead and schedule somebody else. And if you make the decision that you would still like to hold that appointment with me, I would be honored. And I know the hostess that you booked your class from would be grateful as well. And that was the end of it, and I moved on. I never thought twice of it. As a friend of mine taught me, with the finger, turn the page, because we spend way too much time, dwelling on things we have no control over. So, what did I do? I did the same thing that I did when I booked the triple power start. I just got back on the phone and replaced the appointment. So now I have these appointments, these 18 appointments scheduled, and I am working now Fridays, which wasn't something I wanted to do because I was working 7:30 to 4:30. So I would get off of work, literally change at work to go to a 6:30 skincare class, and then I would hold 2 to 3 appointments on Saturdays and Sundays. So my average month was 18 to 20 appointments in skincare classes. Once in a blue moon, they would turn into a double facial, but I can't tell you how many times that happened because it just didn't happen that often. So the momentum is what I was not prepared for. So when you take 18 classes and you learn to work this business full circle, and your goal at every class obviously is to get that one appointment booked to replace the appointment being held. That was not good enough for me. So my goal at every class was to get the minimum of 3, but the goal really was 4 appointments. And if I could rebook the hostess, that's exactly what I would do, because a preferred hostess holds 3 or 4 classes with me a year. So what I ended up having happen in that September was a total of 18 classes, and from each of those classes they had multiplied into a total of 54 classes from October through December. Okay, that's how far out I had to book. It's a lot of classes, gang. I did not know what to do besides be excited. And I was getting guest lists. And I kind of was sitting back trying to figure out what it was I was doing differently. And what the secret was, gang, I went back to the autobiography of Mary Kay Ash. And I kept it simple. And I only wanted nothing more than 6 women at a table. I didn't focus on booking individual facials. And I didn't focus on on-the-go appointments. I didn't focus on collection previews or trunk shows or footsie parties or whatever the heck you want to call them. I focused strictly on a Mary Kay skincare party or skincare class, whatever you want to call it. And I focused on 3 sets: the basic, the miracle, the ultimate. And that was the placemat, which I had copied from the flip chart. And I didn't have to go create a placemat. I didn't have to go create a script. I knew that if I stuck with the core products, our flagship products as I like to call them, that have been proven to work, that have been given the good housekeeping seal, that Mary Kay backed and I backed, I couldn't go wrong. And I also realized that a confused mind does nothing. So if a woman was looking at a placemat with 18 different sets on it, it was so easy for her to get into meltdown mode that she would just as soon buy nothing than have to make a decision. Or she would say, you know what, I'll take this home and I'll get back with the hostess, and that never happens. So when you are focused strictly on the skincare, again, the basic, the miracle, and the ultimate, this is all you're talking about, this is all they're trying, this is, as far as they know, all Mary Kay sells. Okay? So, my class was very simple. We did everything like I just explained. Everything on the placemat, which was the cleanser moisturizer on the face, day-night solution on the back of the hand, microdermabrasion, and firming eye cream. Now, with that being said, they cleanse the whole face, they moisturize half the face, okay? Look, let me back up, I'm sorry, they cleansed the whole face, they microdermed half the face, then they did the serum, or the replenish on half the face, moisturized half the face, primed half the face, and foundationed the whole face. The results are so dramatic. It's night and day. And women were like, holy cow. I mean, some of them thought they had a stroke. I mean, there was that much of a difference. So they're seeing the results, okay? Because we were only doing half the face. Where before, I was doing the whole face, and it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, they could feel it, but they couldn't see it, okay? So, again, the placemat being very simple, 3 sets, the basic, the miracle, the ultimate. My tablecloths was the same. Everybody had a roll-up bag underneath their chair. My packing was very simple. My packing consisted of my starter kit, which included my mirrors that were pre-packed with the lookbooks, the profile cards, and then I carried my, I had another little bag with roll-up bags in it. And I carried 6 completed travel roll-up bags that went under everybody's chair. At the end of the class, I would have everybody pull out the bag, place it on their lap, and I would go through each pocket and go through each of the prices. You know, basic set 40, Miracle 90, the Ultimate 175. Of course, this is without foundation. But if they chose to go with the Ultimate Miracle set, then they would get the travel roll-up bag from me as a thank you gift, which was a $30 purchase. And let me tell you guys, ownership of holding that bag, knowing they can take it home with them that night for $175, plus they're getting the bag for free, is power in your hands, because they don't want to let it go. At my individual close, it was very simple. You know, I sat them down and I simply said, okay, of the 3 sets, they had their roll-up bag still in their lap, I had my roll-up bag. Of the 3 sets, which one will you be taking home tonight? And I would be quiet, and I would start to take her information from her profile card and transfer it to the sales ticket. Now, so many people think that that 30 seconds of silence or whatever is just torture. But what we have to remember is that a few things are going on. She's thinking about what she wants, how much she wants to spend, how much she enjoyed it, and those are the things that are going on. Okay? And in your head, you're thinking, I'm being pushy. That's not the case, because we cannot push somebody into buying something that has 100% money back guarantee. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Okay? And then she is obviously going to give you the answer of which set she's going to take home, and then you write that up, and you know, you move forward from there. Now, when it comes to bookings at my skincare class, one of the things I learned is that I could book masses better than I could book individually. So I started to play a game, which was called Deal or No Deal. And then I also added another component to it, which was called Island Paradise, which was a name game. So after the class was completed, they had done the skincare, we got them up to foundation, they all had a look card. I did not teach them color. I let them know that they could apply the color on their own, or they could take it home and use it the next day. But at that point, I would have the hostess come in and serve the refreshments. But prior to that, I would say, let's play a couple games. I have a couple gifts I'd like to give away. The first one was Island Paradise. It was a piece of paper. I think I have 30 lines on it. Anybody, you guys can create it, so please don't email me for it. And I would just say, you know, just close your eyes and imagine that you and your best girlfriend are going on your dream vacation, and you're all excited, and guess what, you know, you get off the plane, and let's just say it's Hawaii, and you can smell the beautiful gardenias and the flowers, and you get down to baggage claim, and you just can't wait to get to the hotel to have that margarita, and all of a sudden you guys look at each other and you realize, uh-oh, our bags aren't here. What one single cosmetic item can you not live without? Lip liner, lipstick, lip gloss, mascara, one of those items. Or write it down at the top of the piece of paper. They write it down. Then I'd say, okay, gang, do me a favor. Grab your cell phones. And sometimes people are a little apprehensive, and I would simply say, do not worry. I'm not calling these people. It's just a game, and I'm going to give you the paper to take home with you. And so they all grab their cell phones, and I would say, okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Now, the person that can get me the most names and phone numbers, full names and phone numbers, in the next 3 minutes will get the item that they just wrote down on the top of the page at 50% off. And then I would say, on your mark, get set, go. Now, in the meantime, they're writing frantically like it's an exam. And if I am approaching the end of the 3 minutes, and I see that they're still writing frantically, I kind of just ignore the time. And then when I start to see them slowing down, which is usually, like, say, a 3 to 5 minute window, then I'll say, okay, time up, pens down. And then I chuckle, you know, and I'll make, you know, light of the situation. Now, didn't you just feel like you just took an exam or had to write an essay? And they all chuckle and laugh, because, again, you want to have fun. And if they're not laughing, obviously they're not having a good time. Every time you can make them laugh, I always say, you're putting 20 bucks in your pocket. So, anyway, they have these names, and I'd say, okay, how many do you have? How many do you have? That I'll name them off. Oh, great, Sarah, you got 40 names? I mean, it's not uncommon to have women flip the paper over and start writing names on the back. Okay? Then you'll always have the one that'll have a handful, and that's fine. So, the game's done. I have a little bag on the table with whatever in it. It could be a Section 2 item. It could be a PCP, retired gift, whatever. And I give it to, the winner, plus she gets a little 50% off item when she chooses to purchase anything. Then the next thing I play is a game called Deal or No Deal. It's really a simple, fun game. You guys have probably heard of it. If you haven't, you can Google it. It's out there. But I basically put together 12 envelopes, and I print off product slips with pictures of different products, and I place them inside of each envelope. And they're not expensive products. Things like a mascara, a lip liner, eyeliner, lip gloss. The most expensive thing I think I put in there is a basic set. And that isn't something you have to do. That's just what I choose to do. And then I also do what I call one of them has the golden ticket in it, because I want to have fun with them. And I let them know that we're going to play a game that's called Deal or No Deal. And with that being said, I'll say, now who here knows what deal or no deal means? Some say, hey, yeah, I do. And others say, I don't really know. I'm like, great, well, let me explain. So I go into detail and I let them know. Now, for those of you that don't know what deal or no deal means, it's a TV show, and you need to go onto YouTube and watch an episode, and then it'll all make sense. So, I have these white envelopes, and on the front of them it has a label, it says Deal or No Deal, and it's in color, and I fan them out, and I go around the room, and I allow each lady to pick one of these envelopes. And I say, now you cannot open the envelope. Not yet. Now, we're going to play this game. It's called Deal or No Deal, and the whole goal here is to help Susie get the best hostess credit possible. Don't all of you want that? And they always say yes. And I'm like, great. Well, for that to happen, not only does she need to have sales, but she also needs to have future classes booked. And for every future class booked, she's going to get additional hostess credit. So, what I need to ask each of you to do is help Susie. But I also want to give to you an extra special gift. So, with that being said, inside of each one of these envelopes is Mary Kay products. And if you agree to host a Mary Kay party in the next 30 days, you will receive what's inside of this envelope on the day your party holds, in addition to your hostess credit. Now, I think that's pretty exciting, considering I just went over our hostess program. Now, at that point, what I do is I'm going to look for the sparkler in the room, the one that I'm about 100% sure is going to say deal, and I'm going to go with her first. So I will approach, let's say, Karen, and I'm going to say, hey, Karen, okay, it's deal or no deal time. Which one you going to do? And she's going to say deal, and I'm like, awesome. And so she goes ahead, and I'm like, okay, open your envelope. And she opens it, and she's like, woohoo, oil-free eye makeup remover. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is like one of the best prizes. And then I'll go to the next person and say deal or no deal. And she says no deal. And I'm like, okay. Then I get the envelope back, and I smile, and I don't change. I'm just having a good old time. I'm not letting that no affect me, because it's strictly okay. And I grab it. And then I go on to the next person, and I'm deal or no deal. She says deal. And then I'm like, okay, great. She opens hers, whatever it is. Let's say it's an eyeliner. And then this goes on. And I go through everyone. So now let's say we have 6 women there, including the hostess. And out of the 6, we have 4 that book, and 2 say no. So what I do at that point is I still have these extra envelopes, okay? The 2 that were given back, plus the ones that were not chosen from. And I will let the ladies who said deal have the ability to trade in their deal to see if they can find something better. And some choose to keep what they have, and some choose not to. And then after I do that, I'll look at the 2 people that said no, and I'm like, now are you sure you don't want to get involved in this? You know, and I have fun with it, guys. And sometimes they'll change their mind. Okay? So that's really kind of how deal or no deal works. Now, let me ask you. I'll say to the 2 gals, just for curiosity, is there any reason why you really didn't want to hold a skincare class? And they'll say, oh, I don't know enough people. That is the most common question. Or I should say question, but objection. And I'm like, really? And I kind of make, a funny face, and, I'm having fun with it, obviously. And I'm like, See that little piece of paper over there that you just wrote on that says lipstick at the top that you wanted? How many names are on that? 15. You don't think you get 4 or 6 of those ladies to come to your house and have some fun? Oh, I never thought about that. So what I did, gang, is they all created a guest list for their party by using that Island Paradise sheet. Now, let's say she says, yeah, I have 15 people, I just don't want to pull the party, or none of these people would come, and of course I'm not going to embarrass her or push it. I'm just going to say, okay, great, thanks so much. And that's that. Now, we get to the individual close, okay, and my goal is to sell sets and to do what? Book the class, because I just had the women at the table agree that they were going to book, and to schedule what? An interview. So the first thing that I do is I have the bag on my lap, they have the bag on their lap, as I think I may have mentioned earlier, and I say to them, these are the 3 sets, you know, which of the 3 would you like to take home tonight? Of course, the tradition in Mary Kay is first, how does your skin feel? Did you have a good time tonight? Is there anything that you learned that you didn't know before? And then I address, you know, of course, they'll always say, yeah, I learned something. And then if they talked about a problem area that they had at that point, then we will discuss, you know, supplements. And then at that next question is, okay, these are the sets. And then I say, again, A, B, or C, the basic, the miracle, or the ultimate. Now, after she's made that decision, I've written up the sales ticket. If she has decided to book her class, then I go ahead and I give her my calendar. She writes her name, her phone number, her email address, and the best time for me to call her. And then I will obviously write that down for her and give her a hostess packet and briefly go through that and let her know that I will be calling her in the next 24 to 48 hours to kind of answer any questions that she may have. But it's also critical that I get her guest list within 48 hours so that we can make sure that we give her the biggest bang when it comes to our hostess program. After that, I look at her and I would say, Susie, you know what? You saw how much fun we had tonight. And you know what? I have no idea if this is something you would ever consider doing in a million years. But you know, I noticed in your profile card that you said you were a school teacher. And I am in the process of training my sales force how to do interviews. And I would be completely honored if you would mind sharing just 30 minutes of your time via a 3-way call or a cup of coffee with me and one of my consultants so that I can teach them how to present the marketing plan and the opportunity. And just for your time, I will offer you a 50% off item. And then you can use that today, you can use it next month, you can use it next year. You know, some people say, you know what, 50% off item is a great idea, but I don't even have enough money, you know, for a 50% off item right now. And then I simply tell them, you know what, don't worry about it. I'll just bank it for you. And when you have the money, you just pick up the phone and give me a call. So bottom line is I want to get that interview scheduled. Because I have new consultants and seasoned consultants in my unit that need to be hearing me doing an interview. They might be able to add to the interview and say something, which rarely they do. But because it's the whole thing, they need to be taking notes and listening. But they know, you know, their heart tells them maybe they need to express something, then they'll kind of speak up and say, well, you know, I found or I felt the same way, but this is what I found. You know, the whole feel, felt, found theory. So anyway, we do the interviews, and they get a 50% off item after they've held the interview. So they, you know, get a little card from me that basically states that, you know, upon holding your practice interview for training purposes with myself and one of my consultants, that you can redeem this for any one item at 50% off. And it can be anything they want. You know, and if they're buying the Miracle set, guess what, guys? They're going to really, really, really want to be doing that interview, because if they can get their reorder at 50% off on a Miracle set, that's going to be pretty awesome. And so those are some things you might want to be thinking about when they're making their purchases, especially if they're high-end purchases. You know, it's 50% off here, guys. You know, you could apply this towards your reorder, just kind of plant the seed here, you know, and then you can laugh and have fun. And I just let them know, you know, Mary Kay may not be for you, and that's completely fine, because guess what? If everybody was a consultant, we would not have any customers. But what I do need is sharp women to give me their honest opinion of the marketing plan. Because I know that if I share that information with you, and if you run across somebody in your journey that needs what we have to offer, that you are the type of person that would pass that on. And just for doing that, we offer a finder's fee, and my finder's fee is $50 for anybody that you recommend to me that comes into the company and their agreement is accepted. And so I really keep it simple, but it's so critical, guys, that you keep your date book full. You keep yourself focused, others focused. When you walk into the home of a facial or a hostess, bottom line is you go in there and really make her fall in love with you, and then make all of her people, her guests, fall in love with you. Have fun. Don't be a robot. Don't be mechanical. They do not know what you do not know. Don't worry about reading everything perfectly. God only knows. If I do 25 skincare classes, you know what? There isn't a stitch in one of them that's going to be identical. I have my props. I have always used the flip chart. I don't read it verbatim, but I stick with the concepts. You know, I can deliver the same message without reading it word for word. I've made it me, and I've made it fun. And that is what women are, I think, lacking today. They go home, they go to work, they're taking their kids to sports, they're doing all these other things, and then they go to a Mary Kay class, and what they're hearing is class, they're thinking boring. You know, party, you know, is a little more exciting. So, with that being said, you know, make it fun, because you very well may be the only highlight of her week. And you may be the person that makes her week, if it's with a compliment, a joke, or just having fun. And what's going to happen? The relationship's going to be built, and she's going to want to be in your space. If not as a potential business partner, but as a future hostess. And then a preferred hostess. You know, I have many, many, many customers that have been what I call my preferred hostesses for years. We literally schedule their skincare classes for the year. So if I meet with them in January, we schedule the next 3. And those are on the books, and she knows that we need to have different people at every single one. Now, occasionally, I'll see the same person. I'm not going to get all worked up over it because they're still spending money. But she does know that my goal is to build my business, and my goal is to give her free product. I have customers in my customer base that have not paid for product in years because they earn it for free. Or they are running out of product. They don't have time to hold a party, but guess what? They'll be a silent hostess. I mean, so there's other avenues. You know, it's getting customers enrolled in your goal. You know, letting them know that you're working towards a car, you know, that you're working towards taking your family on a trip, or giving your child the choices that other children, you know, that your children, may not have if it wasn't for Mary Kay. And letting them know how much you appreciate, you know, them supporting you, a local businesswoman that's going to be able to afford her family the choices that they normally wouldn't have. That is going to pull at those heartstrings, and they will want to do business with you for life. Another thing I want to add to this is that, you know, we don't always want to be contacting our customers for a sale. You know, I am known for just writing a thinking of you note, and I've always taken very good notes on my customers and what's going on in their life. And one of the things that I am instituting this year is my goal is to send each one of them a birthday card, which I've always done, but I'm going to send them a birthday card through the Mary Kay Ash Charitable Foundation. In other words, I'm going to make a donation on the behalf of one of my customers, and then Mary Kay Ash Charitable Foundation will mail a card to my customer stating that that donation was made by me, their beauty consultant, on their behalf to a very deserving organization. What is happening there is that the customer sees that you truly care, that you are giving your money, number one, to a good cause, and that you are representing what? Their name for that cause. I'm telling you right now, one of my consultants did this for me. I think it was for my birthday last year or Christmas, I can't remember. And when I got the card, he could have knocked me over with a feather, knowing that she put that much thought into donating money on my behalf to an organization that is so near and dear to my heart, instead of giving me a gift card for Starbucks or whatever the case may be. That in itself, gang, will, I assure you, keep that customer coming back to you year after year after year. Because it's no longer about the dollars. It's about the relationship that you're building. And that relationship that you build will put you on the throne for sales and sharing. Because when you need that one more order, or that, extra business partner, they will be the ones that will step up to the plate and deliver in the 11th hour when you really believe that there was no chance that you would reach or achieve that goal. So just remember, as Zig Ziglar, I believe, stated, and I have it on my office wall, and that saying is, when you help enough other people get what they want, you will truly get what you want. Gang, there's no secret to this business. It's a heart business, it's an emotional business, it's a friendship business, but at the end of the day, you have to treat it like a business. The difference is that, as Mary Kay has said, ours is about P&L, profit, not profit and loss. It's about people and love. And the beauty of it is that we can have the people and love and still have the profit. But you have to have that balance. And what I mean by that is that you just have to understand that when you walk into, again, the life of another person, if it be a hostess, a potential recruit, whatever, in my eyes, I'm always on. Because I don't know who's going to cross my path. I don't know the person that I'm talking to may not end up being a potential hostess or a potential business partner within the hour, the weeks, or the months ahead. So it's really always putting my best self forward and showing them that they truly are, at that moment when they're in front of me, the most important thing. And so Mary Kay taught us all that, if you and I are talking, and there's somebody to my left and somebody to my right, and somebody over here, and then somebody over here, and somebody standing behind me, I'm like this, because you're all that matters. And that in itself is powerful. And if somebody interrupts, I just politely look to my left or look to my right, and I'm like, excuse me, but I will be with you just as soon as I can. But right now I'm in the middle of a great conversation. And I really believe that people respect the fact that you're respecting them. And one other thing I want to touch on is the fact that if a class is to start at 7 p.m. sharp, the class starts at 7 p.m. sharp. If somebody shows up 15 minutes late, that is not my problem. That's the hostess's problem. And it's not the problem of the women that arrived on time. I am a huge advocate that the moment that you improvise for women that walk in the door late, especially significantly late, that you have just told every person sitting at that table they're not important. Their time's not important. So I have always made it a rule to let my hostesses know that I will be starting promptly at whatever time. And if anybody walks in after I begin, if she would please politely pull them aside and let them know that I will be happy to schedule them for a one-on-one personal appointment. But at this point, I cannot stop what I'm doing to catch her up, because it's disrespectful to those that got here on time. And gang, some of you may not want to go that route, and that is totally your decision. But I will tell you, the moment you stop that class, you catch 2 or 3 other people up, you have just literally lost integrity, lost respect, and you are losing money. Because guess what? It's not about them any longer when you have to stop yes, it's great that we make money, and yes, we are in business to make money. But again, we have to respect those who respect us. And those are the women that showed up on time. And then you book the others for the follow-up appointment. They may not be happy because they were stuck in traffic, or they had a daycare issue, or mother-in-law fell out the back window, as Mary Kay would say. But guess what? When she's driving home and she's thinking about it, she's going to have more respect for you than you will imagine, because you respected others. And besides, do we want to do business with people that don't respect others or respect us? I know I don't. Because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people that truly want what Mary Kay has to offer. And there's a lot of women and men that need you. And they need you to be the person that sets boundaries, that has a level of expectation, which that is of excellence. So, anyway, my friends, I hope this information helps. I hope to see every single one of you in the top 20, or if not in the top 20, on that national stage for the 50th anniversary. Excuse me. It is going to be a humdinger. And for those of you that have a hope and a prayer of being on that top trip in 2013, if you're brand new in Mary Kay, you'll be there. Because Mary Kay has given us a gift. And that gift is a new time-wise repair. It will make you rich, not only in financial means, but it will make your customer base rich, and rich in belief in our product. And guess what? When you are out there selling a product that is doing what this product is doing, you are going to see exponential growth, not only within your organization of customers, team members, but your unit. This year, I truly believe that everybody that has a goal to be on the top director trip to China, to dine on the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Great Wall of China, will be there. But it must be your focus. So go out there, make it an amazing 50th year, and I am cheering for each of you every step of the way. God bless.